So let's talk about something that I think gets to a lot of us. In a world that's just so full of noise and pressure, how do you even begin to find what's real? Today, we're going to explore a path, a simple one, but a really profound one to living a more authentic life.
In this quote from Alejandro Jodorowsky, man, it just hits the nail on the head, right? It perfectly captures this weird paradox we live in. We're told just be yourself, but at the same time, we're stuck in these invisible cages. Cages made of expectations, old habits, and fears. We get so used to them that when we see real freedom, we actually think it's weird or even wrong.
Okay, so what is this cage? What's it made of? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is probably a lot closer than we think. It often boils down to one simple nagging worry. What do other people think of me?
And this is where Leo Tolstoy comes in with this brilliant idea. He's saying that we make our lives so complicated because we're constantly seeing ourselves through other people's eyes. But true clarity, that's not found by getting everyone's approval. It's found when you can be quiet and just be honest with yourself.
So you can really see the two paths laid out here, right? It's like a fork in the road. On one side, you've got a life based on the judgment of others, and that path leads to a life of performance, of constant anxiety, and it's just messy and complex. But on the other side, you can choose the judgment of self and truth, and that's all about living by your own values, which leads to authenticity, to clarity, and, well, to a much simpler, more peaceful life.
Okay, so if the problem is all this external noise, all this judgment from the outside, well, it's pretty clear where the answer has to be, right? It's got to start from the inside. And that brings us to the next step, the journey inward to find the truth that is uniquely yours.
Carl Jung gives us the perfect metaphor for this. There is no one-size-fits-all guide to being authentic. Trying to copy someone else's life, someone else's path, is like trying to cram your foot into a shoe that was never made for you. It's only ever going to hurt.
And this isn't just about thinking your way to an authentic life. That's a huge mistake a lot of us make. Jim Rohn reminds us that our feelings, our emotions, they have to be part of the journey too. Finding your own truth means learning how to listen to and trust your gut, not just your brain.
And this right here, I think, is the core of it all. We're so often told that the wonders of the world are these big external things, accomplishments, possessions, status. But the real foundation for an authentic life is found in our most basic human abilities. To truly see, to hear, to feel, to love. It's about being 100% present in your own skin, in your own life.
All right, so we've got the mindset down, the why of it all, but what about the how? How do we actually do this? Our next section is all about turning these ideas into reality with practical daily actions you can take to build an authentic self.
It's funny, the answer isn't some huge, dramatic, life-altering event. It's actually much simpler. The legendary coach John Wooden knew this. Greatness, whether it's in sports or in character, is built on small, consistent, daily efforts. It's all about the power of getting just a little bit better every single day.
And here's a simple roadmap to do just that. First, just commit to the daily practice. Show up. Second, pick skills you're actually excited about. Remember, this is your path. Third, and this is key, set the bar low. Seriously, we're not going for perfection here, we're going for momentum. And finally, just repeat. Consistency is the secret sauce that turns tiny actions into massive change.
Okay, let's talk about confidence for a second. Because we have all heard this piece of advice, right? Just pretend you're confident, and eventually, one day, you will be. But there's a real problem with that idea.
There's a much better way, a way better way. And it's a small tweak in language that makes all the difference in the world. Instead of faking it, you act as if.
Let's really break this down, because it's so important. Faking it is a performance for other people. It's about deception, and all it does is make that gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be even wider. Acting as if, on the other hand, that's practice for you. It's about acting in line with your values, embodying the person you want to become, even if you don't totally feel it yet. One is deception, the other is rehearsal.
And that's the big takeaway, right? Real, lasting confidence? You can't fake it. You have to earn it. It's that incredible feeling you get from being honest with yourself. It's what happens when your thoughts, your words, and your actions are finally all moving in the same direction.
So if confidence comes from that alignment, how do we get aligned? Well, there's one tool, one habit that's more powerful than almost anything else. Our words. If you want to close that gap between your inner self and your outer self, mastering what you say is the absolute keystone.
I love this quote. Be sure to taste your words before you spit them out. Just think about that for a second.
It's a reminder to be mindful. Before you speak, just pause. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this even necessary?
Let me give you a great real-world example of this. Coach Tony Dungy, famous for his integrity in the super high-pressure world of the NFL. He pushed back against the idea that locker rooms are just that kind of place where you have to swear to be taken seriously. He proved that you don't have to let your environment compromise who you are. And Dungy's realization here is so simple but so profound. The thing is, we already have self-control. We don't swear in a big TV interview, right? We don't scream at a police officer. We know how to control our words when the stakes are high. So authenticity isn't about learning some new skill, it's about choosing to apply the control we already have all the time.
And we have to be clear, the stakes here are super high. This isn't just about being polite. Careless words, they chip away at everything. They destroy trust in your relationships.
Sure.
But even more importantly, they destroy your trust in yourself. You end up creating a version of you that even you can't rely on.
Okay, let's start to pull all these threads together. We've talked about the mindset, we've talked about the daily practice, but to live this way for the long haul, to really make it stick, it takes a very specific kind of inner strength. And that brings us to our final section. And this might be the most important mindset shift of all. Being authentic doesn't mean you're suddenly fearless. Not at all. It means having the courage to do the right thing, to act on your values, especially when you're afraid. It's about choosing integrity even when, and especially when, it's the harder choice to make. And the best part? You can actually train this courage. You can build it with these tiny physical actions. Things like choosing to sit in the front row, making eye contact, standing up straight. These aren't just little confidence hacks. They are physical ways to tell your own brain, your own nervous system, that you belong, that you deserve to be here. You're physically practicing confidence. So, in the end, it all comes back to that first idea. The simplicity of truth. Living an authentic life isn't some giant, scary puzzle you have to solve. It's built one small, honest choice at a time. The choice to act on your values. The choice to speak with care. The choice to be true to yourself. So the real question isn't some deep philosophical thing. It's much more direct. What choice are you going to make today?